Juvenile Lupus Association thanks you, and the children thank you.
Okay, so before we move on, I just want to give you guys another warning here. The audio clips that you're about to listen to are extremely disturbing and extremely triggering. Anyway, let's take a listen to the clip and I'll give you all the info after.
When you exposed yourself to a 10-year-old sister, did you have an erection?
No. I mean, no. Partial,
Partial erection?
yes.
How did you talk to her? What kinds of things did you say?
What is it that
What?
you're looking for?
How did you talk to her? What kinds of things did you say?
The exposure happened a couple of times.
A couple of times. You told me once.
No, I said on the list it happened several times. I said on the disclosure.
Several times. Oh,
Yes.
you have to understand I was being shot in the face with a shotgun. So several times.
It happened.
With a 10-year-old. Okay.
Well, no, she was 11 and then like 12 and 13. There was never any conversation around it.
There was, but
There was one instance.
But how did you there was one instance what?
Well, this isn't a disclosure, and I told you before, there was one instance where there was one moment of touching where her hand, I put her hand on my feet.
Put her hand on.
Yes. That was in the disclosure. That was also, I also told you that before that when we were in the hotel.
You gotta understand that hard to say yes.
I got it.
Okay.
It lasted a few seconds, and that was the last time anything ever.
What were the other girls' names? I want their first and last name.
I don't know.
And who
Was the niece of the woman who lived across the way. She is someone I actually saw about 12 or 15 years ago and made an amends to.
did you date her?
No. Date her?
That's outside the realm
Oh,
here? Did you date her after you disclosed? Just wondering, Stephen. I need to know.
no.
Okay. How many times
Once.
and you said that there was another girl. How many girls
That
altogether?
was it.
No.
No.
You said that there was.
Help me out here. There was sister.
Sister who was 10 because she wrote me with because 10. 10, 11, 12, around so
Yes.
several years.
There were, I think that there were like 3 incidents over about 3 years.
Okay. So, and then there was the girl across the way and then there's, so it's just 3? You're sure?
So this was a conversation between Stephen Collins, his wife, Faye Grant, and their therapist. This was pretty much a really therapy session. And if you don't know who Stephen Collins is, well, he is an American actor and he's been on many movies and TV shows. But he is best known for playing Eric Camden on the long-running television series Seventh Heaven that went on for 11 seasons. This therapy session happened in 2012 and the audio clip was released sometime in 2014. Eric, however, didn't know that he was being recorded, which later admits to in an interview with Katie Couric. And we are going to listen to that interview here in just a second. I just want to give you guys a bit more context. So in the recording, Stephen admitted that he engaged in sexual misconduct with 3 underage girls decades ago. The incidents happened in 1973, 1982, and 1994. And detectives in New York and Los Angeles began investigating Stephen in 2012. Now let's listen to that interview with Katie Couric.
When did you realize she was wearing a wire?
She took me into a stairwell, and she told me there, she revealed that, she said, I recorded. I was wearing a wire. I recorded that session. And she said, here's our settlement. You're going to sign it now, or that recording is going to find its way to the media.
The first incident was in 1973. You were 25 years old.
Right.
How old was the victim?
She was 10.
Tell us what happened.
Well, in 1973, there were 2 occasions when I exposed myself to this young woman. And several months later, she came to visit, and she and I were watching TV alone together, and I took her hand and moved it in such a way that she was touching me inappropriately. I knew that something unthinkably wrong had just happened that I couldn't take back, and I think we both just sat there. We really didn't move a muscle. And after about, what I recall is about 45 seconds, I took her hand and moved it back. I waited a couple of minutes because I just didn't know what to do or say. And then I got up and left the room. There were 2 times in 1982, 20 years ago, in 1994, when I exposed myself to 2 different teenage girls. There was no physical contact of any kind with either of them.
Do you remember the look on these girls' faces?
The look on the one in 1982 was such that it immediately just stopped everything cold. It was clear that she was disoriented and frightened, and that just made me want to stop and cover up, and I did.
How old were these girls in 1982 and 1994?
They were 13 and 14.
Did you find this sexually gratifying?
Not at all. I mean, not at all. It was not exciting. It was not gratifying. There was no gratification.
Then why did you do it?
It was a combination of poor impulse control, arrogance, 25-year-old arrogance.
When was the first moment you realized that you had these impulses, an attraction to prepubescent or underage girls?
No, that's the thing, and I absolutely do not have that attraction. I am not attracted to underage girls. Keep in mind that the only time there was any physical contact with an underage girl was in 1973. And the incident in 1982, God help me, took advantage. That's not the right word, but I acted impulsively again.
I think taking advantage may be
well, maybe it is
term.
exactly the right word.
Are you a...
I do not fit the either clinical or dictionary definition of it, but I'm absolutely not attracted, physically or attracted to children.
Never tempted?
No.
Never had the urge? That seems sort of weird to me. If this is a pattern of behavior, that you could go for several years and not have that inclination.
Because I didn't walk around thinking, oh boy, I could do something now, but no, I'm not going to. I don't white knuckle this. This is not something I'm not fighting with. It's not like if I miss therapy next week, something's going to happen.
Are there any other women out there?
No.
No one else is going to come forward and say, this happened to me in 1987.
I can't guarantee what someone might do, but I can tell you that if they were doing that, it would not be truthful.
Have you figured out any other reason why you would do this repeatedly?
The thing that makes the most sense to me, and it's not an excuse, because none of this is an excuse, but I did have someone in my life when I was between the ages of about 10 and 15, an older woman, who repeatedly exposed herself to me. And I think that distorted my perception in such a way that some part of me thought, because I never felt like it never occurred to me, that word never crossed my mind as a 10 to 15-year-old boy. It was a very intense experience. But I think somewhere in my brain, I got the equation of, well, this isn't so terrible. I mean, this person who I trust is doing it.
When a woman exposes herself, what are you referring to? She lifted her shirt? What does that mean exactly?
Being in various states of undress or complete undress.
And this happened on several occasions?
Yes, quite a few times.
That may elicit some eye rolls by people listening to this. Oh, okay, this is why he did that.
It's not why I did it. I'm not blaming her. I'm just saying I think that's an aspect that went into my own distorted thinking as a young man.
I'm trying to understand exhibitionism sort of as a pattern. Is it about power? Is it about seeing someone shocked? What motivates it?
I think it is about power, but not consciously. There's a statement that says, figuring it out is the booby prize. And that sounds odd. What that means to a lot of people in recovery is you can figure it out, you can intellectually understand it, but what's important is what your behavior is. I'm still in regular therapy. I always will be, out of respect for those women, and it's just not going to happen again, and it hasn't. And I feel very confident that it won't.
Why did you want to do this interview?
The truth, as painful as it is less painful than the stuff that was flying around the internet and some of the rumors. I think of those women every day, and I would say, with all my heart, I am sorry for what I put you through, and I want you to know that nothing like that will ever happen again.
In real life, I know that you're a person of faith. Has this made you lose faith, or has it made your faith stronger?
In the church, Christ says in so many ways, bring me that which about you which is broken. Bring it. I'm a human being. I have faults and I've done things that I deeply regret, but I also know that I have a really good heart, and that in spite of these things, that I'm a good man trying to be a better man.
Yeah, I know this was tough to listen to, and I don't know what you make out of this interview, but this man is a piece of shit and maybe even delusional. When Katie asked him if he's a pedo, his response was,
Are you a...
I do not fit the either clinical or dictionary definition of it.
Anyway, one of the victims actually came forward. Her name is April Price, and she said this.
I was home alone in the apartment one day in the kitchen cooking breakfast, and I happened to look up. I don't remember if the door was open or if it was a French door with a full view, but I noticed Mr. Collins walking by carrying a load of laundry, and he was completely naked.
What do you mean he was completely naked?
He didn't have any clothes on whatsoever. He had a wad of clothes in his hands. And, walking through the courtyard, and I was taken aback. That was strange. I'm like, wow, who does that? Then another day later, I had asked one of the neighbors about that because it stuck with me. I did think that it was extremely bizarre behavior. We don't run around naked here. And she told me that he had just been filming in France. So, of course, my Oklahoma mind goes, oh, okay, it's France. Yeah, weird, whatever. It's an aberration. I can live with it. Didn't think anything else of it. During this trip, I had brought my Atari, and that dates me a little bit, so that I would have something to do. But I had forgotten the adapter that hooked the Atari up to the television. So once that adapter arrived, I had no idea how to hook it up. I happened to run into Mr. Collins in the courtyard at that point in time, and I was explaining to him, and he said, oh, he could give it a go. He could probably fix it for me. So I invited him into my aunt's apartment, and I took him into the living room where the TV was, and he started to attempt to fix this. I don't know at what point he did this, but when he turned around, his pants were completely unfastened, his penis was hanging out, and I'm just shocked. He doesn't make any mention of it. He doesn't act any different. So I decided, okay, again, this is really weird, but I'm going to play along, and I didn't say anything either. I just acted like it was not out.
What was going through your mind? Were you nervous? Did you think he was going to approach you with his exposed penis?
Honestly, up until this point, I'm 13. I've never even kissed a boy. This is not something that I was even prepared to deal with. More or less, I kind of just shut down. He was acting normal, so I was determined to act just as normal. I'm keeping an eye level. I'm not, my whole thing at that time was not to respond. I didn't want to be rude. He was fixing something for me. I was appreciative of that. So he did his thing, and then he left. So now I'm laying out, by myself in the apartment complex, and he comes home and he sat down beside me and we were having a conversation, and he made mention of some memorabilia from the movie or from the show Tales of the Gold Monkey that he had in his apartment. So he asked me if I cared, if I wanted to come over and look at the stuff that he had. During the time that I'm looking at this memorabilia, he asks me if I care if he gets more comfortable. So he walks back to his bedroom and he comes back out into the living room and he is completely nude. And I mean, my heart just fell. How do you deal with that? Again, I'm 13. I've never even kissed a boy. This is a random stranger that I don't really know that's done something so outrageous. Now I'm not sure how to handle it. And I remember sitting on the couch and not wanting to be rude to him, not knowing how to get out of there. I'm just as tight as I can be, legs together, arms together, going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. He is nonchalantly fixing some light that's 3 feet away from me. It's a standing light. I think he's changing a light bulb possibly, but it puts his genitalia right on my eye level. So it's almost like you're looking everywhere, but you can't help but see it. I'm sitting on that couch wondering how I am going to extricate myself from this terrible situation, not be rude, not flip out, and then all of a sudden, like a ray of sunshine, here comes my aunt walking by the window. She had come home early, and I saw her, and it was like, there's my aunt, got to go by, and bolted from the door. There was not a chance for him to make a comment to me, nothing. She was my lifeline, she was my saving grace, and out the door I went.
As far as I know, she's one of the only victims that came forward, and I'm extremely proud of her because that takes a lot of courage to do, man. Okay, so what were the consequences of Steven's disgusting actions? Well, I actually found this short audio clip of him being in court. Let's take a listen.
Okay, Mr. Collins, you've been handed a stipulation regarding, did you have an opportunity to review it and read it?
Yes,
You've signed it. Did you understand it when you read it?
I believe so.
And you agreed to be bound by it, is that right?
Yes.
Did you have any questions that you'd like to ask Mr. Kaplan about?
No, we discussed it.
Do you have any questions you want to ask me about?
I think so. Thank you.
So what you understand, sir, that what's going to happen is you're going to go back this afternoon and have further settlement discussions. Unless that results in an entire settlement of this matter, you are going to come back to me and we'll have some discussions about whatever the remaining issues are. You understand?
Yes.
And as part of that, I'm going to talk to you with Mr. Kaplan, obviously, you've been alone. And as part of that, I'm going to talk to Ms. Grant, your lawyer, alone.
Mm-hmm.
And you will be privy to those discussions, and you understand all of that.
Yes.
And even though, as a result of those discussions, I may find out something, because in a settlement discussion, everybody is going to be open and honest, I may find out something that may or may not have an ultimate impact on some comment that I make along the way that, well, that's not a really strong argument, or we really shouldn't push that, or you understand that?
Yes.
And even with having said all of that, you're going to come back here if the case doesn't settle, and I'm going to try the case. So whatever I pick up as part of the settlement conference, whatever comments I make during the settlement conference, I'm still ultimately going to try this case and render a decision one way or the other, and you understand.
Yes.
And having said all of that, you're still willing to have me sit as a settlement officer in this case, is that right?
Yes.
The final charges were basically nothing. According to NY Daily News, Stephen Collins would not be prosecuted in child investigations. He would likely avoid charges due to the statute of limitations. Even if he doesn't face prosecution, he will still have to address the abuse allegations in his divorce from Grant, because she plans to raise the issue because she wants her portion of the assets protected in case one of the victims files suit. And according to the Daily Mail, he is now living a simple life down in Iowa. He married a 32-year-old woman, and they also enjoy meditating and going out to eat.
Has created a new life for himself and is kind of bizarrely being embraced in this small Iowa town that he calls home despite his very troubled past. We also exclusively obtained Stephen's new marriage license. It reveals that he tied the knot with a 32-year-old German woman named Jenny Nagel this past summer. Now, not much is known about how the couple met, but they appear to keep a pretty modest life, Jess, taking out the trash, going to breakfast, and trips to the local Walmart.
Okay, so he's no longer acting. He is living in Iowa with his new wife. How's he spending his days?
Well, we spotted him heading into town for a meditation session, and that's pretty much in line with what a lot of his former co-stars have said that he's now into. We saw him arriving at Maharishi Vedic City for his twice daily transcendental meditation practice. He appeared kind of downcast, walked with his head down, and spent about 2 hours inside.
Well, Maharishi Vedic City, where Stephen goes to for meditation, is actually recognized as its own city with its own mayor. The members-only facility is guarded by a staffed entrance, and only those with special identifications are allowed to enter.
So why didn't he serve any time? And why were the charges taken so lightly? This here might give you an explanation. How can someone be prosecuted for alleged child if the statute of limitations has expired? It depends on where the alleged crimes occurred and when they occurred. In California, the victim has 8 years from the age of 18 to come forward. In New York, it's 5 years. Although the laws allow for extension, in Collins' case, the statutes appear to have expired. This might explain why no charges were brought against Collins when allegations were first raised in 2012 in New York. What if victims never come forward? It's a problem. You have to have a victim to make a case. You need help from a victim who can say what happened. Confession is not enough. And this next piece of information is actually good to know, because I actually wasn't sure if it was legal to record someone without their knowledge. Is it legal for someone to secretly tape a therapy session? It depends on the state where the taping occurred. California is a two-party state, meaning consent is required by all parties. New York is a one-party state, meaning only one person has to consent to taping. Is the tape admissible in either a divorce or a criminal case? Probably not. With no victim, prosecutors will have to rely on circumstantial evidence. A secretly recorded confession on tape would be pretty good circumstantial evidence, but it would not be admissible in a two-party state. Yeah, there you have it. I personally think that he should rot in prison. That's just my opinion. And, you know, he was also dropped from future films and TV shows that he was going to be on. But knowing how Hollywood is, I hate to say it, man, but he'll probably work again. By the way, I also found this clip of Barry Watson, who played Matt Camden in the Seventh Heaven series, speaking a little bit about what happened with Stephen.
But we've got to ask you about this. You know, the allegations against Stephen Collins came out. I know that we were shocked to hear this. I want to know what your reaction was after working with him for so many years.
You know, my reaction was basically of all the thousands of kids, you know, each year that are victims of any sort of abuse. So that's where all of my sort of thoughts went. A lot of people, you know, wanted to know if I was thinking about, you know, obviously Stephen or anything like that. And my thought didn't really go there. It went more to, you know, all the awful things that kind of happen each year to thousands and thousands of kids. And some of them are reported, some of them are not. So that's kind of where I went with that. Yeah.
You didn't have that. I've known Steven a long time.
Yeah,
My
I was with. We had a big, wonderful reunion with the whole cast for the first time in years. 2 weeks, 2 weeks before. So,
wow.
You know.
Yeah, because the reaction was, "What, Steven Collins?"
Yeah, and I love all. You know, we had such a great time doing that show, and I love everybody there.
Have you been in touch with him or anything? Or?
We've all sort of been in touch, you know, a little bit here and there, but.
Have you spoken to him after these?
I'm not going to answer that.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
Barry is actually right, because there's so many cases that go unnoticed and not talked about, which is, you know, a total shame. But yeah, this is the main reason that I wanted to make this video, because, you know, like I said, these things unfortunately happen way too often. And I also wanted to spread the message, bring awareness to not only these cases and, you know, the victims and all of that, but just for you guys to be aware that this stuff goes down. So keep your kids really close to you and protect them, love them, keep your loved ones close, because a lot of the times when these things happen, it's a I mean, I'm sure you guys know, but it's a you know, a close family member, and yeah, that takes advantage of a you know, of a child. And I've said this on my channel quite a few times, but when it comes to kids and animals like a cat or a dog, they're just so innocent, you know? They don't know what's what. And you're supposed to love them and protect them, protect their, you know, their innocence, man. And for someone to just take that away from them is, it's messed up, dude. It really is. I also know of quite a few people that've been through this shit, man. And yeah, it pisses me the F off. It really does. Also, shout out to all the victims that went through this shit, dude. I'm so sorry that you went through all of that. With that being said, let's move on to the next audio clips. Now, this next audio clip that you're going to listen to happened in 2015 in a hotel in New York. Let's take a listen.
I'm telling you right now.
What do we have to do here?
Nothing. I'm going to take a shower. You sit there and have a drink. Water.
I don't drink. Can I stay on the bar?
No, you must come here now.
No.
Please.
No, I don't want to.
I'm not doing anything with you. I'm not even embarrassing me.
I'm sorry. I cannot. No, yesterday was a kind of aggressive for me. I need to know a person to be touched.
I won't do a thing.
I don't want
do a thing, please. I swear I won't. Just sit with me. Don't embarrass me in the hotel. I'm here all the time.
I
sit
know,
with me.
but
I
don't want to.
Please sit there. Please. 1 minute.
No,
I ask
I can't.
you. Go to the bathroom.
Please, I don't want to do something I don't want
Go to the bathroom. Come here. Listen to me.
I want to go downstairs.
I'm not going to do anything. You'll never see me again after this. Okay? That's it. If you embarrass me in this hotel,
I'm not embarrassing you. It's just that I don't feel comfortable.
I mean, don't have a fight with me in the
It's not nice.
Please, I'm not going to do anything. I swear, my children. Please come in. On everything. I'm a famous guy.
I'm feeling very uncomfortable right now.
Please come in now. And 1 minute. And if you want to leave, when the guy comes with my
Why
jacket,
yesterday you touched my breast?
Oh, please, I'm sorry. Just come on. I'm used to that. Come on.
Are you used to that?
Yes, come in. Because
No, but I'm not used to that.
I won't do it again. Come on. Sit here. Sit here for a minute, please.
No, I don't want to.
If you do this now, you will embarrass me. But no. Never call me again. Okay? I'm sorry. I promise you I won't do anything.
I know, but yesterday was too much.
The guy's coming. I will never do another thing to you. 5 minutes. Don't ruin your friendship with me for 5 minutes.
I know, but it's kind of like, it's too much for me. I can't.
Please, you're making a big scene here.
No,
Please.
but I want to leave.
So this was a conversation between Harvey Weinstein and model Ambra Batilana Gutierrez. And I'm sure you know who Harvey is, famous producer and dominated Hollywood for decades. Anyway, the manner in which he is speaking to her in that audio clip is so predatory. Like, what a disgusting human. So, according to reports, she filed a complaint with the New York Police Department and the next night met up with Weinstein, along with an NYPD undercover unit, while wearing a wire. The recording took place in the hallway outside of Weinstein's room. At this point, no criminal charges were filed, and this is what she had to say about the encounter.
His hands were on my breast.
Just like that?
Just like that. So I froze. I was absolutely shocked. I didn't know what to say or what to do.
She walked out and went straight to the local police precinct in Manhattan to report what happened. Cops asked her to meet Weinstein at a hotel the next day, this time wearing a wire.
At that point is when I was really scared.
If you want to spend time with me, I will mentor you, I teach you, whatever, but you have to, relax with me, have fun, enjoy.
What?
A massage, something fun.
I'm shy.
I know, but a massage, something nice. If you don't trust me, then we have no reason to do anything, and you will lose big opportunities.
When her accusations became public, she became the target of a smear campaign.
They were absolutely portraying me as something I wasn't, because they were saying I was a prostitute.
Despite compelling evidence, no charges were filed, and Ambra believes that's because of Weinstein's power. He was reportedly represented by Rudy Giuliani and the famed attorney David Boies.
It was a bad experience.
You feel the system failed you?
Yeah, of course. I did everything I could have in the right way, and they didn't stop it.
But this is what Harvey did for like the past 20 years. He would assault women, intimidate them, and have them sign an agreement. Then, of course, pay them a lot of money. Rowena Chu is another victim that went through the same nightmare. Let's take a listen to what she said.
Can I ask you, and again, you don't have to tell me, but can I ask you what happened on what is arguably the night?
We talked a bit about scripts. We spent some time discussing, he engaged in some flattery about how I graduated with a degree in English literature from Oxford, which he very much liked to allude to also. He asked me a bit about my boyfriend. He asked me how long we'd been together and whether he was my first boyfriend and so on. And so I guess the conversation segued into the personal very quickly. He asked me for a massage. He had taken his clothes off, so he was naked. So he requested a massage from me, which I was reluctant to give him. He asked me to take off some of my layers of clothing, saying that it was warm in the hotel room or that I'd feel more comfortable if I took off more clothes. And so in that way, it was almost an insidious, gradual path towards, asking for more and more overt sexual favors. And so from there, it led to him pinning me against the bed and asking for just one thrust and saying just one thrust and it'll all be over.
Oh my God, your head must have been swimming.
It was a pretty terrifying experience.
How would you characterize the silence they were seeking? Like, how sweeping was it?
Absolute. We were told that this period of our lives would have to be considered a black hole. We could, in the lightest possible terms, refer to the fact that we had worked for Harvey Weinstein, but we weren't to go into any detail about the nature of that work or what happened subsequent to that work or the fact that there was an NDA or the fact that there was any settlement money. None of that was to be referred to.
How did Harvey Weinstein respond to you telling your story?
His lawyer issued a statement saying that Harvey Weinstein and I had engaged in a 6-month physical consensual relationship, and that Harvey was looking for ways to take legal action against me for breaking my NDA.
Is it worth it for you?
We'll see. I'm on a long journey. I am, encouraged by the voices that lift me up from other victims, but also from people who are silent even to this day, and they feel like I in some way speak for them. I won't know the long-term repercussions of speaking out for a long time to come, but I so far have no regrets.
So yeah, Rowena broke her silence and her NDA to tell her story, which takes a lot of guts to do. Now we're gonna listen to a short audio clip from an interview that Rose McGowan did with ABC, and what she said is insane. I do recommend watching the whole interview. I just can't include it here because of copyright reasons, but I'll link it down below in the description just in case you want to watch the whole thing. Let's take a listen.
This is an international, okay? This is the truth of what it is. This is an international factory. Every single place he ever stayed, there were people there set up to help him. This is how it went. This is what it was. People, women, girls would be said, oh, you have a meeting or come to a party. They would show up and that party is just him. Who got them there? Who are the assistants?
You're saying there was a machinery.
So I'm saying there's a massive machinery. He is a sociopathic predator. He thinks he's done nothing wrong. I wish just one person would have stood up and said no more, because so many people had so many chances to put a stop to this.
This man had people who helped him. That is just so evil. I don't know, it kind of reminds me of Jeffrey Epstein, who I believe did kind of like the same thing. Now we're gonna take a look at footage of Harvey meeting up with Melissa Thompson for a business meeting. She actually recorded the whole interview without him knowing. Let's take a look.
Interrupt. All right. Hello, Melissa Thompson.
Hello, Harvey.
How are you?
Happy New Year.
That's nice. Nice to do that. Not bad.
How's your day?
How's your day? Someone has a flirt with you?
We'll see. A little bit.
A little bit, not much,
A little
right? Okay. Then, all right. Then I won't. So, what do you want?
No, it's okay. So I have your hands in so many things, and you do so many things. So I have a lot to tell you.
Let's say I wanted to show a trailer. You mean of
Yeah.
my movie? You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
I have the Marilyn Monroe movie.
So let's talk about Marilyn Monroe movie. People who would be interested in that movie. Who would be interested in that movie?
Just tell me what I can do. Like, yeah, it's fun to do this.
Okay,
But
so
I'm actually seriously having a conversation.
good. Well, we can do both.
Okay. Then as long
Okay,
as we
so would it be what's target demographic?
Women.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
whatever.
we're gonna buy space. We're gonna buy ad space on Vogue.com.
Do you think you might have encouraged him?
I don't think I purposely encouraged him. At first, I tried to, volley a little bit with him. If he would make a comment, I would try to catch it and return it in a way that felt it's a little safer than the way he threw it at me. Now I see he's trying to, in any way you can, move me into that zone of comfortable then uncomfortable and confused and vulnerable, and recognizing that he's powerful and I'm not, and that I need this deal from him and he has the power to give it to me. We can have like to win 2 VIP passes to the premiere in New York, and they have to like it. So now you're generating all these likes on your Facebook page.
Wow. Okay. You know, I'm going to use your service.
Good.
On Marilyn Monroe.
Good.
And then, you can sign me up, tell your boss.
And so he's going from almost pulling a trigger on using this platform to then he would put his hand up under the table, up my dress. I was trying to save face a bit. At first I was trying to kind of manage the situation. There was a combination of confidence and naivety. Data's so hot, right?
What's that?
Data's so hot.
It is hot. Right. You got a little bit. Okay.
A little bit.
Right.
A little high. It's a little high. That's a little high. So another thing I was thinking is, Sarah. I don't know how much you were involved, but the Sarah Jessica Parker movie with Skyrocket. Were you using Skyrocket? Some kind of app thing. I don't know. Never mind. It's like a buy the look, where they wanted to in the trailer. They wanted people to be able to buy her clothing, so they partner with Outlook and whatever Blue Fly.
It's not me.
Okay, whatever. I can do that too. I tried to keep it on script in terms of pitching him the product, but
He was still touching you on the shoulder.
he was still touching me on the
What's running
shoulder.
through your head as that's happening?
What do I do? How did I get myself here? I lost my train of thought, and I was trying so hard to gain back my own mental footing. At some point, his whole affect changed, and he looked like a predator. His eyes became dark.
You know, the way he talks and just the way he moves and just the look on his face, you can tell that he's a master predator. You can tell that he's an evil human that only cares about himself. But thankfully, he was convicted onto 5 charges of committing a criminal sexual act in the 1st degree and 3rd degree. He was sentenced to 23 years in a New York state prison. Also, I believe that without Ronan Farrow's investigative journalism, I don't think Harvey would have been caught or even arrested. Because when he started digging, Harvey's people started harassing Ronan. They would follow him and, you know, all sorts of stuff. But of course, he didn't back off, thankfully. And oddly enough, his parents are Mia Farrow and Woody Allen, who is also a pedo, who was also accused of sexual abuse allegations by Ronan's older sister, Dylan Farrow, which again, it's crazy. There is one more audio clip that I found interesting. It's by Quentin Tarantino on the Joe Rogan podcast. Let's take a listen.
How weird is it for you to have had a relationship with that guy for all these years, making all these films, and now see what he's become?
It's sad. It's sad. It was like, you know, he wasn't just this guy who financed my movies. He was, you know, kind of like a father figure. I mean, he was kind of a father figure, but that's most people's father.
Yeah.
You know, he was a father figure, but he was like, you know, he was involved in, you know, my professional life for like a long, long time. So it's like, you know, I think it's sad.
Oh, it's definitely sad. It's just, it's surreal though, too, right?
Yeah.
Because we've never seen, other than Bill Cosby, we've never seen like a fall like this before. It's so strange.
Yeah, well, you know, one of the things is funny. Like I did an interview with the 2 women that cracked the case on the New York Times. I did a talk with them during that time. I don't really talk about it that much afterwards because like, well, I did it with them and that's enough. But one of the things I ended up like saying is, well, I wish I had done more during the time. And a lot of people like read a lot of what that could possibly mean.
Right.
Well, actually, what it means is I wish I had talked to the guy. I wish I had sat him down and had the uncomfortable conversation. I didn't know about any race or anything like that. I just, you know, but I knew he was, you know, I chalked it up to the boss chasing the secretary around the desk, you know, as if that's okay. But I mean, that's how I kind of looked at it. You know, he was, you know, making unwanted advances. That's how I looked at it. But I wish I had talked to him. I wish I had sat him down and go, Harvey, you can't do this. You're going to fuck up everything.
Do you think that no one talked to him and maybe that was how he got so completely out of control?
Yeah, maybe his brother Bob. Maybe, but I don't think anybody talked to him about it. And the thing about it is everybody who was in his orbit knew about it. There's nobody who said they didn't know that didn't know. If you were in his orbit, and that includes all the big actors who he palled around with, like they all knew. They all knew. They didn't know they didn't know anything about race, but they had heard.
Yeah.
They had heard things. They had heard about him just, you know, putting the bite on somebody in a limo or something.
For sure, a lot of people knew and didn't say a word, which is not right.
Harvey Weinstein's former victims smiled as they walked out of court after he was sentenced to 23 years in prison. 2 gave emotional victim impact statements during the hearing.
His sentence is long enough for him at least to begin to understand what he's done. Whether he will ever be truly sorry, I don't know.
And again, thank you all for watching, and thank you if you're a member of the channel and or a patron. It really, really means a lot. And by the way, I also changed my background. I don't know if you noticed or not, but yeah, I changed my whole room. But yeah, I don't know, I needed a change because coming into a room that's dark and gloomy every single day, it was really really just getting to me. So I painted this wall. I got a new dresser. I know you guys can't see it because it's not in frame, but Yeah, new bed set here, new bed frame. I did DIY'd my desk a little bit. I painted the legs. I don't know if you guys want pictures, if you guys even care, or if you guys want to see it. But yeah, it took me a really long time to finish. This is actual security footage from one of my security cams. As you can see, I had a humongous mess. I mean, it was really, really bad. And yeah, it took me about, I think maybe like 2 months to finish everything. I had to, you know, build the furniture. Thankfully, my dad helped me out. Yeah, I painted this wall white. I got this little dresser that you see in the background from Amazon, which they're pretty cheap. Some new nightstands and stuff. But the thing that took me forever was the desk because of the cable management and the closet. Oh my goodness. It's, it's ridiculous, man. But yeah, that's what I've been doing instead of, you know, editing and making videos. Also with having a full-time job and, you know, trying to do this at the same time and dealing with the room and just with everyday life stuff, it piled up and it became a lot. But I actually enjoyed it. There's something about painting and putting something together and seeing the final product. I don't know, it made me feel good. Also just, you know, just working with my dad, it was fun, man. I also got a new Mac, which took me a minute to set up. I had to reinstall a bunch of programs like the editing software that I use to edit and a bunch of plugins and pictures and videos. And I didn't know how to do it at first. So yeah, it just took me a while to figure it out and set it all up. And the monitors and again, the cable management is just... It took me a really long time. My old iMac, which is in the closet now, was just giving me a bunch of problems. There was quite a few times where I couldn't even edit. Like, it would just freeze. And I don't know if you've ever used a Mac, but when you put it through a bunch of stress, sometimes you get like a little tiny beach ball. There was a point where I couldn't edit and I couldn't open my, you know, my projects, and I thought I was so screwed. I was like, what am I gonna do? I'm not gonna be able to make videos and this and that. But thankfully I figured it out. I reinstalled everything. I resetted the computer, but even after that, it still gave me problems. So I figured, what the hell, man? I'm getting a new Mac, and I just put it all on the credit card, and now I'm in debt. But it was worth it for sure. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. Okay, so hopefully you're still watching this video. I wanted to talk about what I'm gonna be doing for October. Last year I did Now My Mom Calls every single day, and this year, this October, I'm not gonna be doing that because I don't know, man. It's just, it didn't feel right, you know? I was putting a lot of effort into those videos, but I just didn't like how they came out. Because I'm still kind of sitting like in between, like making them entertaining, but also being respectful at the same time, especially towards, you know, the people that go through this stuff. And yeah, I don't know. It just didn't feel right to do it again, especially, you know, just by myself. I was driving myself crazy, and yeah, that's why I'm not gonna do it again this year. Instead, what I'm gonna be doing this October is scary stories, and this is where you guys come in. So if you guys have any scary stories, send them to me. I'm going to be providing my email. You should be able to see it right now across the screen. Yeah, just send me your scary stories. They don't necessarily have to be about like the paranormal. Maybe some intruder broke into your home. You know, you can tell me about that. or you saw a UFO and this happened and yada yada yada. I'm also gonna be sharing some experiences that I went through. I don't know if they were paranormal. I don't know what they were, but they were weird. Yeah, I'm gonna be involving myself into the series too. There's one of 3 ways that you can submit your story. One, you could just type it down and send it to me in an email, and then I'll just narrate it myself and add pictures and video and background music and stuff like that. 2, you can send me an audio recording, and you can actually use your phone, which is pretty easy. You just hit record, save the file, and then send it to me through an email. And 3, you can send me a video, which is preferred, but you don't have to. It's fine, it's cool. I know it's pretty uncomfortable to get in front of a camera, so I get it if you don't want to do that. But if you do, you don't have to worry about, you know, the video quality, the audio quality, the lighting, none of that. You just leave that up to me. I got you. And if you can't send the video through an email, a lot of the times what happens is the file size is too big, so you can't send it in an email. What you can do, you can upload it to YouTube and publish it as unlisted. Then you hit save, then you go to the video, copy the link, and send me that link through an email. Then I can go over there and download the video. And if for some reason you change your mind and you don't want to be included in the series, send me an email. I'm gonna be checking that email every single day, multiple times a day. So if you change your mind, I won't do it, I'll delete it, and then it's like it never happened. Hopefully it doesn't happen when I'm, you know, editing, but I'll still delete it. I got you. You can trust me. I'm not gonna do anything that you don't want to do. But also just make sure that the story is you know, real, something that you went through, or something that you witnessed. I am gonna be creating a community post just to remind you guys, so you can submit your scary story. And I'm also gonna leave it down below in a pinned comment on this video. And I am sweating my it's so hot in my room, man. But yeah, I'm also gonna still be making 911 videos. This is disgusting, by the way, but I gotta do it. And I can't turn up the fan anymore because then it's gonna go through the audio. And anyway, I am still gonna be making 911 videos through the month of October. This is just an extra series that I really want to do. And there's also something about just curling up in bed and with a little blankie and some coffee or maybe some hot cocoa and just listening to scary stories or watching scary stories. I think it's a lot of fun, man. I love doing that. Well, I do it throughout the year, but yeah, it should be fun. Like I said, this is your chance to be included in one of my videos. Yeah, I think that is it. Hopefully I made sense because I'm so tired. Oh, gee. I've been just going at it every single day and I can't stop sweating. But yeah, I think that is it. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you for watching. Hopefully I get submissions. I really hope that I do. If I don't, then I don't know. I'll come up with something else. Yeah, I love you all. See you guys soon. I think I said that already. Love you. Be kind. Pass it around. Really pass that shit around, man. We gotta love each other and help each other and all of that. Yeah, see you guys soon. Love you.